Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Indonesian Youth Democracy Forum Public Forum. It's a closing public forum, a peak event of a month-long program, Indonesian Youth Democracy Forum. So today's public forum is protecting democracy in the 21st century, the role of the youth. And if you see over here, we have 20 young professionals coming from different regions in Indonesia, different professional backgrounds and experiences. They have undergone a series of workshops, dialogues, and focus group discussions among themselves, as well as with our dialogue partners who are civil society organizations and some experts. So first of all, let me extend a warm welcome to our guest, Dr. Dennis Suarsana, the Director of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Indonesia. Welcome, Pak Dennis. Prof. Jimli Ashidik, the Founding Chief Justice of Indonesia's Constitutional Court. Welcome, Prof. Jimli. Pak Bambang Harimurti, the Commissioner of PT Inti Tempo Media. Thank you for coming, Pak Bambang. Ibu Khairunisa Nur Agustiati, Bu Ninis, thank you for coming. She's the Executive Director of Perkumpulan untuk Pemilu dan Demokrasi, Perludem. All right, so to open our event today, we would like to invite our founder and chairman of FPCI, Pak Dino Patijalal, to give a welcoming remark.
Thank you very much. My name is Dino Jala. I want to thank everyone for coming here in the late evening. It's going to be a very fun session. Thank you to our partner, Dennis Kas. Yeah, we've done many great things. Also, Pak Jimli, thank you so much for coming all the way from Bogor. I know you have a long trip to make this event. Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. Pak Bambang juga, one of the smartest people I know. Yeah, Ibu Karin Nisa juga. Thank you so much. Just very quick introduction from me. Look, the democracy that we have now was born after 1998, right? So the generation that made that happen owned that democracy, right? They have a strong ownership of it because they knew what it was before and then what was the sacrifice for them to change what they had before into what it is today, right? So they owned it, right? And now there's a new generation. And the question is, do you own this, right? And if you think, yes, you do, you got to think twice before you actually answer it that fast, right? Because you did not know, if you were under 25, 23 years old, you don't know what it was like. I remember when I was a government official, if I saw people protesting in the street against the government, my blood boiled. I was government official, like, what is this? Because I had such an authoritarian mindset, you know what I mean, right? And now, when you see protests in the street, it's like, what? Yeah, this is life, this is democracy, this is the way it should be, it must be, right? So I own that today, right? And this is what this is about, because we really have to make sure that the young generation who don't have recollection of what happened before 1998, beyond what they read in paper, that you own the democracy, because there's no use living in a democracy unless you feel that you own it, right? It's more than just institutions, right? It's the people, the spirit that makes that democracy alive. You know, in Indonesia we have Pancasila, right? Sila 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first principle. The first 3 principles I'm no longer worried about. Ya kan, ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, right? Indonesia is becoming more religious, more believing in God. Yeah, in the United States, in Western Europe, in Australia, they say according to polls, people are becoming less religious, right? But in Indonesia and in other places in the global South, people are becoming more religious. Sila 1, Sila 2, apa? Kemanusiaan, right? I'm not worried about that anymore because the safeguards to ensure humanity is upheld. It's just plenty of it. Sila ketiga, national unity. I'm not worried about it. In the 70s, I was worried Indonesia would break apart. In the 80s also, in the 90s, Indonesia would be like a Balkan, right? But I'm not worried now. Yeah, Aceh has been resolved. Papua will never separate. Yeah, it's just an irritant, right? And then we don't have any other separatist issues. But sila keempat and kelima, we have huge challenge. Yeah. Number 4 is what Sukarno said, democracy. Yeah. right? Kerakyat yang dipimpin blah blah blah. Sukarno reduced it in one sentence, democracy, when he gave a speech in the U.S. Congress, right? But again, you look around the world, right? You may have a democracy, but what if you end up with bad leaders, corrupt leaders, bad institutions, bad laws, people who don't believe in democracy and prefer authoritarian tendencies, or you have mass authoritarianism. Maybe the elite binds by the rule of law, but the mass takes actions on their own and becomes radical, become hateful, and so on, right? So the quality of democracy is the challenge that we have. Yeah. And fifth is keadilan sosial, right? I know there's many interpretations to social justice, but in my view, the most important one is rule of law, right? Rule of law is still missing. Supremacy of law is still missing in Indonesia, and I don't have to give a big speech about it, right? So in short, we have Pancasila, we're all committed to it. The first three, I'm not worried about it. The one I lose sleep over is the fourth one, democracy, making sure that we have a democracy, but with good politics, not democracy with bad politics, right? And also rule of law. Keadilan sosial itu I reinterpret as rule of law. So have a good discussions. I want you guys to have full ownership of this because the future of Indonesia, democracy Indonesia 2045 is in your hands, and how you fight for democracy, defend it, right, will define that golden Indonesia emas. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Dino, for your remark. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Dennis Suarsana for your welcoming remark.
Thank you. Thank you, Ibu Jenny. Thank you, Dino. It's always such a challenge to speak after Pak Dino because you certainly look dumb and boring. And if you don't look dumb and boring, you at least feel dumb and boring. So, Dino, I try my best, but probably that was the highlight. And now I don't know what I am. Professor Jim Lee, Pak Bambang, Ibu Nini, I think what I can say, and I'm certainly proud of this, that all of the distinguished guests and all of the three distinguished guests and also Pak Dino, they are all somehow partners and friends of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. So at least we're doing something right here in Indonesia. Well, I'm very happy to be here today, and I'm very happy that we have this collaboration. It's the very first time that CAS and FPCI are cooperating here in Indonesia, and I think it's the right thing. It's the right thing because our two organizations share the same values, the same objectives, promoting democracy in our countries, but also beyond, and also promoting the engagement of young people, of the young generation in democracy. And this is what it's all about in this event today. So I'm really proud and really honored to be able to open this closing ceremony or closing session of our event. And Dino, you talked about ownership of democracy, and especially ownership by the young generation. And when I drove here in my car, and of course it was Macet, like always, I was bored and I Googled. And I Googled the ages of the world leaders. And I mean, who knows how old Joe Biden is?
120?
He was, yeah, maybe he will run for president when he's 23. So he will turn 81 this November. Next November, when we have the presidential election in the US, he will be 82. So 82 years, and possibly he's going to be the next president of the United States. I mean, he is the president. But also, if you look to India, Narendra Modi, he's 73. Xi Jinping, he's 70. I forgot some. Well, if you look to Brazil, we talked about Lula. He's also around 70. In Timor-Leste, which is your neighboring country, the population has just elected a new prime minister who's 78, and he was the candidate for change. So my question is, who owns the democracy? I mean, I just read today that Pak Prabowo, yeah, he's the leading candidate among the youth. He's 73, so he's your leading candidate. And my question is, why is that? I mean, you could say Western interests, you know, they own the country. This might be true for some countries, but it's certainly not true for, let's say, Germany. But our chancellor is 65. His challenger, the head of the Conservative Party, which we are affiliated to, he's 67. So in 2 years, we have elections. So the chancellor will be 67, his competitor will be 69. And they don't own the country. They are like career politicians. They are not rich. They don't have any coal mines. So why is it? And I would say, or that's my experience from Europe, that young people are less and less politically engaged, also less and less politically interested. And so there's a young generation, well, you have these, I mean, you maybe seen the videos on TV of these climate activists in Europe. Of course, there's a part of the young generation that is going out on the street, demonstrating. But they are not engaging in the political parties. They are not really trying to be constructive. So protesting only takes you so far. You have to be constructive. You have to provide solutions. You have to get involved in, you know, politics, get into the political parties, get into the grassroots movements, but be constructive, have ideas, share your ideas, provide solutions, work on these solutions. I mean, this is what you did today. That's what you did with your joint statement, so I'm very much looking forward to this. And I'm happy to see that here in Indonesia, you have these young people who are politically active and who want to change the country for the better, because these are decisions, or at the moment, I mean, I said this in my statement when we had our online session last week, the biggest decisions that are being taken right now, these are the decisions that impact you and your future. So Mr. Biden is no longer not impacted by his decisions on climate policy. I mean, he's 82 next year, but you will be, and the young Americans will be, and my children will be. So owning the democracy means to get engaged in the political field, to really work on solutions and not just protesting. And once again, I'm very happy to see this here. And also I'm very happy to be able to welcome three German young professionals and students who are scholarship holders of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung in Germany, and who are also politically engaged in Germany, but more and more exception. So now I think we'll have a discussion with Professor Jimli and Pak Bamba and Ibu Nini. So we're here to learn, but then we push them aside and we provide our own solutions. And I'm now speaking as a young person, although Dino always says he's young. So we are the young generation as well. But, you know, own the democracy means taking the democracy, speaking up for your interests, for your future. And I hope that you'll do this today, and I hope you do this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Dennis. Handshake. Pak Dennis, actually, before we go to the discussion, we will hear first from the youth. So, yeah, this is a session where we want to display not everything, but a glimpse of what we have been doing for the past month, especially last night and the whole day today. They will present their joint statement. It is not yet the final statement report, which we will continue to work on for the next month, but this is a glimpse. There were some, let's say, debates, disagreements, but they eventually came into agreements on what to put on the statement. And I think I would like to thank as well all of the 20 young professionals for pouring all their minds and hearts to this statement. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the young professionals to give your joint statement. And I believe some representatives will come here up the stage, but we will first start with a video.
Hei pemuda-pemudi Indonesia, berapa jumlahmu? Jawablah. kami hanya satu.
Honorable guests, program partners, and distinguished delegates. Today, our democracy is facing challenges like never before. We may have elections, but we do not have meaningful public participation in our governance. We may have fancy digital tools at our disposal, but we fear of harnessing it to express ourselves. We may allow everyone to speak, but not every voices are heard. This is not the first time we confront formidable challenges. We have undergone, survived, and overcome crises before. When push come to shove, a group of people was always there. 95 years ago, in this very month, in the face of brutal colonial authority, a 23-year-old Sugondo Joyo Puspito led the Youth Congress, who puts our very nations in the map. In 1966, when the nation was grappling with relentless political instability, the 24-year-old Suu Hock-Gyi, along with the Kami movement, led the very first transfer of power in Indonesia. In 1998, when our people was fed up with decades of corruption and the devastating economic crisis, the 22-year-old Hafidin Royar marched on the streets demanding changes until he was killed by the armed forces. When their motherland needed them, our youth never turned their back. They stepped up to the plate and come to our nation's aid. But what about now? Now, 20 representatives of Indonesian youth gather in honor of the youth who have sacrificed their sweat, their bloods, and their lives for this very nation. We are here not to dwell on problems, but to share our novel and tangible ideas on how we can make our democracy serve the needs of our people. To that end, let me talk about the first issue at hand. We understand that our democracy has undergone a severe setbacks across multiple aspects. This includes political parties, policy-making inclusivity, transparency, accountability, and of course, human rights. To resurrect our democracy, it is important to implement strategic actions. The first one is to make our political parties independent, meritocracy-based, by increasing political party financing through the state budget, while also ensuring them to be transparent in order to conduct their duty of recruitment, candidacy, and public aspiration gathering. The second one is to reinstate the independence of the Corruption Eradication Commission, as corruption has already embedded in our daily life. This reinstating of independence should be conducted by a thorough evaluation and revisions of the underlying regulations, so that the law enforcement is free from interference and immune to the politicizations of the law. The third one is to ensure that the public has sufficient information regarding the lawmaking process. This includes the documents, the idea, and the access for the public to be able to criticize, to be able to give their opinion, and to be able to be heard and provided with explanations, so that the legislation will be formulated in an impactful way and meets with the needs of the people. And the fourth is that the government, we understand that the government is now making a rapid infrastructure development, rigorous foreign investment, but they should have involved affected communities in order to ensure the fulfillment of their rights and to promote environmental stability. And the last one is the government and also the Attorney General Office must address past gross human rights violation by offering suitable reparations, both judicial and non-judicial, in order for to hold accountable those responsible and also ensure proper compensations to the victims.
One another important point for our future democracy is how to make democracy work in the digital age. Digital development offers both challenge and opportunities. We believe that harnessing opportunities and tackling the challenge is a crucial part for our deepening democracy. Hence, we call on the Indonesian government to make all digital infrastructure program across Indonesia more accountable, more transparent, in order to accelerate the infrastructure development across Indonesia and also make it accessible and affordable for all the group of society. Second, we also call for specifically the Ministry of Education and Culture to mandate formal education from elementary to secondary school to include digital literacy topic into the curriculum Merdeka, which is covering digital skill, digital ethics, digital safety, digital culture. It is to enhance our digital literacy. Third, we also call on Indonesian government and legislature to revise the law on electronic information and transaction to formulate a clearer definition of problematic terms, and at the same time bring about a more professional law enforcement to hinder subjective manipulation. It is an effort to safeguard our freedom of expression and also maintaining social cohesion and unity. And the fourth, we also call on Indonesian government and legislature to put in place measures that effectively tackle and resolve persecution, intimidation, repression in digital spheres to safeguard our freedom of expression and also improve our political ecosystem. And the last, ensure the existing relevant government bodies have adequate capabilities and competencies, as well as operate independently from any undue influence in implementing the law on private data protection. It is our effort to protect data and privacy rights.
People, we believe that there is insufficient political participation for women, marginalized and underserved groups, people with disabilities, and youth in Indonesia. Therefore, we call on, first, for women, political parties should adhere to the mandated 30% of women representation in parliament, as their expected quota has never been achieved. Ensure the strict enforcement of existing gender quota policies to guarantee that political parties nominate an adequate number of female candidates. Secondly, Indonesian women live in a patriarchal society where they are underappreciated and unreasonable expectations are imposed among them. We should challenge societal norms and encourage their support in promoting gender equality initiatives within policies. For marginalized and underserved communities, multiple stakeholders in government and private sectors should allocate resources devoted to investing in the development and infrastructure of marginalized communities to enhance their political inclusion because they should be heard. Secondly, the Ministry of Research, Technology and Higher Education should reform civic education to provide a rights-based framework of democratic participation for marginalized and underserved communities. Now, for people with disabilities, General Election Commission should conduct a series of comprehensive sensitization training for election organizers personnel to cascade knowledge and skills to provide proper assistance and disability-friendly facilities for voters with unique disabilities throughout the electoral processes. And for youth, okay, all of us in this room, we should engage in political initiatives, including youth councils and advisory bodies at local and national levels. Yes, please stand up together, everyone. We should promote our participation in local governance through youth advisory boards and encourage young people, encourage ourselves to run for local offices. Local politics can serve as a stepping stone for young politicians. Now, the Ministry of Youth and Sports should conduct targeted civic education campaigns aimed at engaging youth in the political process. And they should also employ digital platforms. With this joint statement, we declare our aspiration, determination, and commitment to protect democracy in Indonesia. We must not take our democracy for granted because democracy is fragile. We must protect it on a day-to-day basis. We do not have the wealth of experience that our elders have, but history has taught that we, the youth, are the heirs of our national legacy, and we will fight to preserve and keep that legacy. Jakarta, 6 October 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our colleagues, for your hard work and for all your minds and hearts for the past month for formulating this joint statement. And a month from now, they will continue to finalize the longer version. Actually, it's just a glimpse of all of what they have formulated. And we will have a consultation with the experts, with civil society groups in Indonesia. Some of our dialogue partners as well are engaged, have been engaged. People with disabilities were engaged in our dialogue last week or last 2 weeks. And that's where the statements came from. And we hope to have the statement being published in the future, near future, and to spread it across Indonesia to be heard by all of us throughout the nation. So yeah, now, without further ado, I'd like to invite our experts panel while our committees are preparing for the seats. We have Professor Jim Lee, we have Pak Bambang, we have Ibu Khoirunisa, and moderated by our founder and chairman, Pak Dino Jalal. All right, so we invite all of the experts panel to be on the stage.
This is the fun part of the discussion. I will give each of the panels their opening statements on how would you respond to the joint statement, but most importantly, what do you feature as the best lessons of our democratic transition, and what would be the biggest democratic challenges that you see facing our nation today? Yeah, I will of course begin with Pak Jim Lee. Yes.
Baik, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening. I'm very glad Excellency Ambassador Dino Patijala have me here. Thank you very much, and I appreciate this forum. And I am astonished, surprised with the statements made by you all. Those statements are all, I agree. It's very good statements, and I think it is reflecting the burning issues today related to our present performance of democracy and the rule of law. So I agree with all your statements. I don't know what to add more, yeah? Maybe I would like to add several things. Number one is about culture. England, Australia, the form of the government is actually kingdom. But their attitude, political attitude, is republic. But Indonesia is a republic. But our political culture is monarchy. Okay? Very feudal. I would like to remind you that during the formulation of Indonesian 45 constitutions, there are not too many articles decided by voting. Almost all articles decided by acclamation. But when the framers tried to decide whether we establish a republic or a kingdom, there was very big debate. So the choice must be decided by voting. There were 9 persons, member of BPUPKI, was opposing the ideas of republic. 9. But when it was voting taken, there are 6 persons. The other 3, 2 different ideas. One is abstain, did not present. So there were 6 persons against republic. They want kesultanan. They wanted the kingdom. So in my opinion, if before the decision we make a referendum first, I think that the 6 persons will won the referendum. Why? Because before we establish our republic, our culture, from Sabang until Merauke, from Miangas until Pulau Rote, everybody knows about kingdom, about kesultanan. So their cognitive awareness and also their behavior, political behavior, is kingdom. And now we are already 78 years independence. Do you think that feudalistic and monarchy culture is already diminished? No, still there. Just look at the political parties. Almost all of them become a dynasty. Very easy to change, regenerations from the old chairman to the new chairman. Only 1 week to the son, to the daughter. Almost all political parties like that. So our culture is still, very feudalistic. And this is one of a very big problem we are facing toward the 21st century. During your leadership, 20 years forward. Because we have to institutionalize our democratic system, our rule of law. So the problem of political institutionalization is hindered and by this culture. And now we are facing now the very advanced ICT technology, social media, that the trend of de-institutionalization becoming more stronger, because the institutions is not established. So what is the factor making it the decision is the culture. So when we talk about rule of law, Apidai said, we have to, promote the rule of law, not of men. Not of men. But what is happened now? the rule by man, the rule of man by using law, and that is the rule by law, not the rule of law. So what is happening today? The rule by law. So all the power holders use the law, yeah, for their power benefit. So this is what is happening now. So modernization's political culture and modern institutionalization of politics is a must. And this is our job, your challenges for you for the future. Like for example, I read, I listened to what is you mentioned about budget for political parties. It's okay, but there is a but. If the political parties is still closed as today, there is no internal democracy inside the political parties. No, don't give them budget from the people. It's very dangerous. So they have to be open and they have to be democratic. They have name of the party, democracy, but it is only branding. But their own internal culture is not democracy. Why we should give them budget? Just like proportional terbuka or tertutup. Yeah, ideally it is tertutup is okay, but on one condition, that the political parties must be open and democratic inside first. I think this is what I would like to add. And the last one, democracy today cannot work without the rule of law. Democratic mechanism of decision making is majority rule principles. Who have more seats, they decide. But that is procedural and formalistic democracy if it is only majority rule. So we have to add, on its balance relation, majority rules with minority rights. Minority rights not only about ethnicity, religion, but also in economic, any political position. Just like, for example, about the woman gender issues, we should put it, the minority rights as the balance power with majority rules. So to make democracy become substantial, become meaningful, it must be guarded by the rule of law, functional rule of law. And when we talk about the rule of law, one of the principles is due process. And you know that due process of law is not only related to due process of law enforcement, but also due process of lawmaking. We have now established a judicial review mechanism to control, not only the law, the regulation, but also how the regulation was made. And this is, we call it formal judicial review. And unluckily that, from 44 cases of formal judicial review, both in the Supreme Court and also in the Constitutional Court, just only one is granted by the court. That is Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja. That is the first. So it is very, very, landmark decision in judicial review history, because it is the first pengujian formal review was granted by the court. But unluckily, it is very easy for the government to make, perpu, and it is already 4 before 5 judges in the Constitutional Court against the law, and then one of the 5 was fired.
By the pair.
No, not by the pair, by them. both by the president also, and also by the parliament. And so because of that, there is another judges. So look at the decision yesterday when they agree with the Perpu becoming law related to Undang-Undang Cipta Kerja, precisely 5-4. 5-4. 5 means there is a new member, new judge, which is different from the 5 judge. So this is one the problem of due process of lawmaking. And I think this is what I would like to add from what is your conclusion, your statement. I agree all with that, only with these 2 or 3 additions. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Pak. Pak Bambang.
Oh, thank you very much. Having the former chief of Mahkamah Konstitusi spoken about this, not much left for me to say. So being a storyteller, I would just actually look for the other angle. First of all, I would like to say congratulations on your statement, which is in a way kind like in the same spirit as 95 years ago. Yeah? And I'm glad there is Pa Dennis here, because if I look at my history book, 95 years ago, one of the reasons those youth can have a gathering and a pledge, they are very much helped by the Theosophy. And now you are helped by the Adenauer Konrad Stiftung. So it's a history repeats itself in a sense, for good thing. So thank you, Pa Dennis. I think you are part of our history now. Yeah, and also he's from Germany. I remember when we were at that time talking about constitutional court, because so many bad laws in Indonesia. There were competition of 2 models, French and Germany. In French, before they make into a law, they have to go to the constitutional court, right? Council. If they say yes, then only it become a law. But in Germany, the parliament can make a law. If somebody says it's against the constitution, then it can be brought into the constitutional court to be decided upon. At that time, we all decided the German model, if I remember correctly, yeah, Pak? Because we thought there were so many bad laws already made that need to be, brought to the constitutional court. And one of the things I like about one of these old law being repealed is what we call a Hatsai Artikelen, which is a colonial rule, which you can go to jail if you insult government institution or the president. Was brought to the court, constitutional court, and Pak Jim Lee and all the judges decided this is against our constitution, and then threw it out. Unfortunately, now they put it in the new law, in the new KUHP, and so it's now I think it's part of our duty now to repeal it again later on, because it's not yet official, yeah, but next year I think it's 2 years, yeah, 2 years from. So that means because I know you are all probably the kind of Star Trek Trekkies or what you call it, generation. So the Empire strike back, yeah? the bad people, yeah, the dark force is very strong. You have to always keep fighting them. Yeah? You need to be a good Jedi, yeah? And I think Pak Jim Lee can be your Yoda, because he has proven himself. Yeah. So who you are? I'm very proud to be here with all of you. I feel safer that our future is is in a good hand. And I'm glad you put this, the need to actually to liberate our political parties from being hostage of the oligarch through the money. Because I'm in the member of the team Percepatan Reformasi Hukum, we also put that in our recommendation. In 2017, Pak Jimli, KPK and LIPI did a study how much money political party need in order for them to be financially independent. And they come up with 27,000 rupiah per vote per year. And I think this year they have increased it almost 3 times. They get 2,500. So they are still being hostage of the oligarchy. But of course, we are not only giving the money, but also that they have to be democratic internally, and they have to be accountable. Like I said also before, perlu them know this very much. In terms of election, Indonesia technically is not bad. Yeah, the problem is the menu. Because we spend so much money, like so much money on building a very good restaurant, and then we let other people make the menu. You know, so now we are hoping, but actually it's the job of political party to create the best menu, so you can choose the best leaders. Yeah, and that not yet happening, but of course, building a Rome is not in a day. It takes times, and but let me go back a little bit to the history.
Let's not too long, but
Yeah,
I want
just
to
2
have
minutes.
a
2 minutes.
discussion.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Remember when we had when the Dutch finally says, okay, Indonesia can be independent in December 2049. Actually, we created the best constitution, because at that time we had help from all the experts from UN that just came back from having the human rights declarations. They are the same people. Some of them as experts were sent to Indonesia to help us create the Undang-Undang Dasar Sementara. But unfortunately, and then the Dutch use the federalism as a way to divide our nation, so it caused a boomerang. Yeah. So now we consider federalism as a bad word, taboo. We associate with a taboo. But I think maybe in your generation, this historical baggage is no longer something that you can have a new thinking, which is better without all this historical baggage. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. And thank you, Pak Bambang. And by the way, I hope the participants from our workshop today will be ready to ask questions or respond to remarks, because I'm sure the panelists will want to hear what's in your mind. Ibu Korenusa, can you tell us about what you think Indonesia's democratic challenge and how to make it better? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak Dino. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hoirunisa. First of all, I would like to thank you for my colleague here for the declaration. I totally agree with the recommendations. All of them are also our concern in Perludem. And if we talk about election and democracy in Indonesia, at his remarks, Pak Dino remind us about Pancasila, the fifth sila kelima, social justice. And if we never, in my opinion, if we talk about the election, our policymaker, our lawmaker never started with what is the goal of our election. I think social justice should be the answer, should be the goal of our election. The goal of our election is not only that we have elected officials, elected presidents, elected legislative, but how our president, our legislative can work effectively. We have effective government, so we can reach social justice. But when in my experience in monitoring the process of the making of the election law, our political party in DPR always look at their self, for example, they always discuss about what is the electoral variable that will benefit for them. Pak Jimli talk about sistem pemilu terbuka tertutup. It takes a long debate about what is our electoral system. So we never talk about the essential of our election, because we always discuss about whether we want to open proportional or close proportional, even though we want to increase the parliamentary threshold, for example, what kind of electoral formula that we are going to use, which one of this electoral variable will benefit for them. So we never see what is the goal of our election. So that is why when we are in making our election law, it always partially, because every political parties in DPR always see what is benefit for them. If we choose this electoral system, will it be advantage for us or not? So we never see the goal, the big picture of our election. And also the role of the youth. Pak Dennis also in his remarks told about the age of world leader. And where is the youth? Because most of them are already at that age. And in Indonesia context, yes, it is hard. It is hard for us as the youth to be in the process of this political process. Because, for example, we have political party law that and our election law, in my word, overkill, because it is very hard to have to make political party in Indonesia. Not only hard but also expensive. So who has the money? Are we the youth have the money to have the brands of the political party offices in the 38 of the all provinces in Indonesia? Because to make political party, we have to have one on each provinces in Indonesia, 70% on district, 50% in sub-district. Office needs money to pay for the water, the electricity. Who has the money? We don't have the money. And after we are already registered in the Ministry of Law, we have to register in KPU. And the requirement is also hard and also expensive. And after we are registered in the KPU as a political party that can be a candidate in the election, to get the seat in DPR, it's also hard because we have 4% of parliamentary threshold. So it is very hard for the young to be in the process of the election itself. And Pak Bambang also remind us about the democratic condition of our political party. In the law, it stated that if political party want to nominate to be a candidate of the president or to be candidate of the local leader or the legislative, the political party should have the process transparent and democratic. But what is the indicator? We don't have the indicator. The law said it should be transparent and democratic, but it goes back to the political parties itself. So if we ask why this kind of candidate is nominated, the political party said it's already based on our policy internally. So I totally agree with all the recommendation, and also my appreciation that you also not forget about the woman, because if you talk about the democracy now, it is impossible if we don't involve women in the democracy. I think that's all, Pak Dino.
Thank you. I want to invite response and questions first, please. And please identify yourselves. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Andy. I'm from Ambon, Maluku. And I'm just wondering, throughout the process of elections, as a part of democracy, to show off that we are democratic nations, we held elections, presidential elections, especially like every 5 years. So based on your experience, especially for Pak Bambang and Pak Jimli, starting from 99, the first elections, the first democratic election that we held until upcoming election next year, which one of the model close to the spirit of democratic? Because like every 5 years, it has some additional, it has some changes. So which one is close? I mean, if until now, until the upcoming, it's far away from closer to the spirit of democracy, what kind of models that we have to promote in order to, promote our nations or our democracy in terms of presidential elections, because in my opinion, it grasps nation power, nation energy a lot. Like people more focusing on election and forget about like the spirit of democracy itself. Thank you.
I'm going to take two more questions. Anybody? Yeah, from there, that side, no more, right? Okay, please go ahead. And then I'll take one from the back, yeah. Introduce yourselves, yeah.
Oke, Assalamualaikum Pak Jimli, Pak Dino, Pak Bambang, dan Mbak Nisa. Terima kasih for the explanation. And following up to the concern about the electronic systems, potentially limiting our understanding to the overall election process, how can young Indonesian actively engage with technology to ensure the transparency, accessibility, and comprehensive understanding of the electoral procedures, bridging the gap between the older and the younger generation in shaping the future political landscape in Indonesia. And also with the Pak Jimli Hasidik said, considering the unique challenge for the role of youth, such as political party restriction and limited internal democracy, what is the grassroots initiative of youth-led movement do you think would be most effective to promoting democratic values, fostering internal democratic within political parties in Indonesia and on the level of grassroots level? Thank you.
Okay, in the back, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Haikal. I'm a student of Master of Law in Indonesia University, also a student of Prof. Jim Lee. I have a question. Firstly,
one question.
Only one question. So, like Prof. Jim Lee also, Mbak Dina said about Indonesian political party. Like right now, we have facing many problem in our political party, and also there's a phenomenon that a rejection when a young figure engage or entering a political party in Indonesia. Just said like a former of a student executive body in Indonesia University that entering one of our political party, and maybe a lot of university student that refuse to call him as their representation. So maybe there's a worries when young people entering a political party, they might be or might become like an old political party figure in Indonesia, and that based on our political party have a low trust level in Indonesia, and several survey that political party is the lowest organization that have a trust level in Indonesia. So how we deal with that? How we how we entering when a lot of people still looks like that, looking a political party like that. Besides of that, like Mbak Nini said, to make a political party in Indonesia, it's very, very expensive. We have to make an office in 100% each province in Indonesia, 75% for a city and a district in each province, and also 50% in sub-districts in each city in its province. So how we deal with that? Because I personally,
I get the question. Okay.
About that.
I don't want to hear a speech. Yeah. Okay. I have one question for Korinisa. Look, at FPCI, we had this program called Know Your Caleg, right? Because I'm also chairman of Indonesian Diaspora, and Dapil 2 is for diaspora, for outside voters. And we want to make sure that the diaspora know who they're voting for. And we found out there were like 107 candidates for that district, yeah. And we put a program on how all these 107 candidates can present what they want to do if they get elected. It's very simple, so that the diaspora can hear their profile. We were really shocked to find out that when we contacted them, many of them don't even have addresses, right? Let alone program, right? And then the ones that we could contact, when we asked them to come in, they did not want to come in. I said, this is the only way you can reach the voters out there. They said, no, no, no. Why? Apparently they don't have anything. They were just asking to be there because they're beautiful or they're handsome or they have a good name or interesting name, whatever. And many of them just did so many fishy things. Yeah. My question is this: how do we fix this? This is just Jakarta Dapil 2, yeah, right? And you have these caleg's yang brengsek who have no intention to represent the will of the people. No intention. They just want the power to sit there and to enjoy all the facilities, right? And how many districts there are throughout Indonesia, right? Berapa? 84, right? So how do we fix this? How do we create a system that can generate better candidates and make sure that the better candidates are filtered so that the voters are assured of good candidates that will be elected? Yeah. So that's my question. This is a systemic question. Yeah. Pak Jemli duluan untuk yang pertanyaan-pertanyaan tadi ya. Oh, Pak Babang juga.
Yeah. If we try to learn from the history, I think the best examples of electoral performance, there are two elections. One, 1999. The second one is 1955. During that time, we don't have enough preparations, like, for example, political parties, and so the law during that time allowed a personal candidate without parties become the candidate, perseorangan, calon perseorangan, and it was very free and just, lubersam, ya, langsung, umum, bebas, dan berkesamaan during that time. And the second one is 1999, I think, because I was one of the, the formulated the policy made by the President B.J. Habibie when the transfer of the power and the picture. I was there in the Istana because I was assistant of President Habibie. So I think there are two, yeah. And the first presidential elections is 2004, and it is also very good. During that time, the incumbent was Megawati. Even the incumbent failed. Yeah? So the new candidate won the elections. It means that the management of the elections is quite fair during that time. But later on, yes, I was once become the Chief Justice of the Electoral Ethics, DKPP. In 5 years, there were 340 commissioners of Electoral Commission, and also Bawaslu. We give sanctions, ethical sanctions. It's about 10% of them we fired. Yeah? So there are so many. So the quality of the management of the elections is sometimes about the neutrality of bureaucracy, still, and I'm afraid these coming elections, because the president cawe-cawe. In America, during the Donald Trump elections with Hillary, President Obama still in his position. He become, he campaigned for Hillary, but Hillary failed. Why? Because the culture is not feudalistic anymore, and the quality of the institution, political institution, is already established. But here, the institutions is not yet established, and the feudalistic culture is still here. I told you, we are a republic, but the culture is monarchy. so if the president cawe-cawe until the head of the villages, oh, yes sir, yes sir. Okay, that's the possible what will happening. And then what else? The questions? Huh?
I forgot to explain
Pontianak? Yes.
There is a lot of marginalized and underserved group, and we know IKN will be in Kalimantan. So I would like to ask the grassroots level, what should we do to face the challenge for youth in Kalimantan with these conditions? Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have to, just like what he mentioned about, know your caleg, know your candidate. Number two, it is also very good, yeah. For example, we are now, practicing money politics. Not only money politics, like for example in Lampung, I call it gula politics. They use gulaku. The candidate is very, very intelligent. They don't use the name of gulaku. No, they don't use that. But everybody know, yeah, that gula must be from gulaku. So the son of the owner of the gulaku was become candidate, and they go up in the morning, every houses. So I call it gula politics, not money politics. So now we have to make a campaign, receive the money, receive the envelope, but report to Bawaslu. Yeah. Report to Bawaslu. It's not like what is mentioned by Prabowo. So I criticize him. I send him my WA. No, that's not good. I said. He said, yeah, that's good because from the elites, the money from the elite distributed the people. That's good. So just receive. That's his statement said like that. I said, no, we have to educate the people to make a report to the Bawaslu, receive the envelope and report to the Bawaslu. Yes. No, you have to be brave. You are free. Okay. Yeah. Especially the young people, we have to, freedom is inherent in our. The power is only 5 years or 10 years, but our freedom, and in the history, all the young people should know that in the history, you will be noted in the history that you are dibungkam and you agree to be dibungkam. Okay. Now, what else?
Maybe I turn to Pak Bambang.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think okay.
But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I think from the first question, what best since 99? Yeah. For me, it's good that we elected in 99. We elected still MPR. Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we still the MPR, and I think the MPR at quality at that time is still very good because can you imagine, the MPR agreed to Fourth Amendment, which basically take the MPR power away, which is by direct election of president, and I think that's really a big plus for us. Yeah, imagine if we didn't have that. Maybe our choice for president is between Puan, Agus Ahaye, and you know, you can imagine. But because now at least Kaisang, yeah, yeah. But because of that, then Pak SBY won. Even though the president was Megawati, and Megawati was the one who agreed to this. So I think at that time, people still statesmen, yeah? Not. I remember at that time I was in, maybe Pak Denny should know this. At that time, everybody who want to push for this fourth amendment, presidential direct election, no donor would support, because they said, this is impossible. You ask an institution to abolish its own power. So the only donor who want to help was Open Society, because Open Society like high risk, high gain kind of program, you know, and it did. I mean, we would never have this kind again. You ask an institution to give away its power for the greater good. Yeah, so I think that is amazing. That is amazing. And then young people, yeah, I think now with digital power, you have the power to do without a lot of money to campaign for your ideas and get a lot of followers. And if you get a lot of followers, political party will want you to represent them, because you are getting vote getters. Of course, with the caveat, you should become popular because of your public policies, not because of how you dress up or you put lipstick in 7 minutes or something like that. Yeah, because we don't want a parliament member who is an expert in putting lipstick in 7 minutes. Yeah, but we want somebody that is. And so I think that so you can be right away. I mean, if you have 2 million followers, I'm sure a lot of political party will ask you to become that. And then the second that's good, yeah, Pak, I think at that time that we allow independent candidate to become head of regional, bupati or gubernur, and if you look at Indonesia, some of the best bupati governor started as independent candidate. Once they won and become incumbent, all political parties want to support them. Yeah. That's also thanks to him as MK judges. Unfortunately, for president, it's not allowed by our constitution, according to the current judges. I don't know, but not yet. Okay. But actually, I think it would be a safe clause, yeah. And at that time, I think we are good that the threshold level is still very low. Yeah, because threshold is being used by the whoever in power actually to corner the market, and we should not allow political party to corner the market. And that's why Dapil 2, as you say, just like any other Dapil, these are not people who we want to become parliament member. Yeah, they have a different agenda and they spend a lot of money. So it's been captured. And okay. Yeah, and so I think if you are interested in politics, I think you should just start to have your digital things, yeah. But a real one, not a fake one using AI and so on, yeah. But to let people see what you are doing, what's your dream, and so on, yeah. So you become like Martin Luther King, you know, I have dreams and so on, but don't get shot, okay? Just, and the last one is, I think, yeah, you have to be brave. I think this, as Churchill say, the fear of fear itself is the most dangerous. Yeah. And
Roosevelt said that.
Yeah, Roosevelt. Yeah. So the thing is, the moment you feel there is some threat, you have to report. Yeah. hide in the brightest light. Yeah, because that's the safest, the safest place. I had fought with the biggest mafia, and I did it because I know one mafia is big. He enjoy life. He doesn't want to risk it. I'm afraid of the small, criminal, because they have nothing to lose. But if somebody like Tommy Winata, Haji Isam, or all this Gulaku, Madam Lee, you can fight them because they are too big. They don't want to lose their power against somebody, just one person. Yeah. But of course you have to report, so you are safer.
Yeah. Okay. Ibu Korinusa. But one more thing, Pak Bambang. I think one of the best things we did also was getting the military out permanently. Because remember, in Pakistan they went out and then they came back, right? Myanmar they went out, but they
never really out.
yeah. But TNI they went out totally out of politics. So that's one thing. Even though now the police coming in with more political power. Yeah. Okay. Please, Ibu Korinusa.
Okay, thank you for the question. Talking about Dapil DKI 2, Pak Dino, back in 2012, 2013, we also with Diaspora Indonesia do advocacy about this because Dapil DKI 2 is consists of Jakarta Pusat, Jakarta Selatan, and luar negeri. And the candidate, the concentration is only for the Jakarta Selatan and Jakarta Pusat. They never have focus on luar negeri. In our opinion at that time, the needs of Jakarta people and overseas needs are different. Jakarta Pusat, Jakarta luar negeri, the issue is about traffic, about flood. Maybe the people in Indonesia overseas never faced that issues. Air pollution, yeah. So at that time, we go to the Constitutional Court, Prof. Jimli, and ask the court that luar negeri have their own district, have their own dapil for luar negeri. Don't combine it with Jakarta Pusat and luar negeri because when we are talking with the caleg from Jakarta, from DKI 2, because they feel like just get the vote from DKI. Why should I have to go to overseas to get the vote when I already have the votes from DKI? So luar negeri never be their focus in their campaign. And I think it is important for I appreciate the initiative of knowing your caleg because back in 2019 election, talking about invalid votes for DPR RI, it's 17 million invalid votes. 17 for DPR. 17 million is equal to 60 or 70 seats in DPR. It is very contrast with our voter turnout in 2019 election. Our voter turnout is 81%. It means that we are willing to go to the polling station. But why? When we go to the polling station, our votes is invalid. I think the factor is because we don't know who is the candidate. Because we have so many candidates in the one ballot paper, and we have 5 ballots paper because we have simultaneous election, presidential election, DPR, provincial, kabupaten kota, and also DPD in one day election.
And a long queue.
Yeah, in a long queue, very big ballot paper, and we have lack of information about the candidate. And I think it is also the challenge for this from our upcoming election because KPU until now are not willing to open the CVs of the candidate. In the website, they only the photos, only the number of the candidate, only the district, but there is no CVs of them. But KPU asked the people, you can give comment to this caleg. But how we can give the comment if we don't know the...
And many of them lie.
Yeah. Yes, of course we can Google it by ourselves but it is not authoritative. The source is not authoritative. But if we get the source from the KPU, this is the authority body that have the resources. And back again about the district, Pak Dino. I think because the problem is because we do not draw our electoral boundaries proportionally. Last year, 2 years ago, we go back to the Constitutional Court about this issue, about the electoral district. And the court said that, okay, electoral boundaries should be based on the democratic principle. It should be proportional. But the problem is, in the United States, there's a term gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is when we draw the electoral boundaries because partisan boundaries, because the one who make the boundaries is political party, is the lawmaker. The Constitutional Court granted our argument, Pak Jimli, but the KPU are refused to make the district proportionally because the political party don't want the district to be changed. So it is still long advocacy about our proportional district.
Okay, good. Well, we are coming at the end of the. Is this working? Yeah. So we're coming at the end, but I have two questions that I think is very interesting. Oh, Shakdia, you want to ask? You're Shakdia, right? Are you the sister of Shakdia or no? No relation whatsoever. Okay, okay. All right, good. Yeah. You know, Shakdia is my favorite stand-up comic, by the way. So I was similar. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, thank you for and all the panelists. I do have one burning question, but so I believe that when we talk about democracy, it actually must be present in all aspects of our lives. Like I'm talking about legal aspects and social aspects and political aspects and economic as well. But I do have concern in our social democratic landscape, whereby I often see one of the emerging threats nowadays to our democracy is the attitude of othering others. If you know what I mean. And if I can be more blatant, in here, I'm actually referring to religio-political movements in Indonesia, among all the social movements that we have, yeah? I always see them as social issues instead of religious one because, because they are really actually, they do have political objectives and motivated very much by politics. And my questions to you, Pak, what is your view on how to draw boundary between giving this movement space to kind of exercise their political rights, their democratic, roles or voice out their, let's say, objectives, as part of political civil societies, but at the same time protecting our social cohesiveness and our, social harmony, because I think this is very important for us to always feel like as a bangsa Indonesia, and we can't take it for granted because in many countries already it has been destroyed and it really affects their political and social balance or stability. Thank you, Pak.
Okay, great question. And I want to add two questions and for any of the panelists to answer. One is this, look, I'm seeing a trend in some parts of the world of some kind of cult of personality. I mean, we saw this in the United States, how, okay, Trump was unpopular, but people who supported him were ultra militant and blinded to the extent that their logic were blinded by their admiration or adulation towards him. But this is happening in a lot of global South countries as well, right? And of course, there's a risk that this happens in Indonesia as well. So my question for you is this a red flag? Seeing leaders and we give them our extreme, ultra blind adulation that whatever he does, we turn a blind eye, right? So that's one question. Is that a red flag? Secondly, do you see that an industry of power emerging, industri kekuasaan, meaning that it's really no longer about the people, about public service, it's about idealistic values and so on, but it's really all about power, and those who have it will do everything to maintain it, and those who want to gain benefit from power will do everything to play the game and to make sure they have a taste of power or they have a hold on power one way or another. But it becomes an industry, it becomes an industry. Is that what we are seeing, or am I totally just nuts in seeing this? Yeah, please.
I think you are right, but the phenomena is not only in Indonesia, all over the world. Like, for example, racialism, Islamophobic, everywhere. And it is, decreasing the quality of democracy everywhere. And the technology, that's number 2. And number 3, COVID-19 hijacked the power center. Very easy. In the last 3 years, there are so many laws. For example, there is a law, it's only 1 week. And the ketua praksi call, and then, yes. And then they invite the session in the parliament, only attended by about 10 persons, talk. It's very easy. So without participation, meaningful participation, without public debate, yeah. So the democracy becoming very, very formalistic, okay, in the last 3 years. But we have to be still hope, yeah, because democracy is today is already the dream of 95% of the whole country in the world. Only 5% do not claim their country is a democracy, but 95% claim to be democracy, but their in the practice they are different according to their history. Indonesia, yes, from 1945 we claim to be democratic, but really democracy, I think, starting from 1998. So this is very new, 25 years. And we still have 20 years toward Indonesia Emas 2045. So we have to again evaluate, yeah, the constitutional systems, what we have reformed in 25 years, yeah, including the political parties, the civil society, empowerment. And in my book, for example, I introduced the need, yeah, for a law of larangan rangkap jabatan and konflik kepentingan. This is very important, not only between business and politics, yeah, like in many countries, the conflict of interest between business and politics now happening everywhere, including in America. When Donald Trump was elected, there was a law in America, law of, larangan konflik kepentingan. But that law is not valid for the president. No. So when he was president, he said, no, that's law is not for me, because president is already regulated in the constitution. So during that time, everywhere, konflik kepentingan, everywhere, business and politics. But here in Indonesia, more than just conflict of interest between business and politics. As you mentioned about oligarchy, dynasty and oligarchy become one. But here, I always spoke about macro, port branch of power, not macro, executive, legislature, judicial power, and mixed functions. That's 4. But there is another 4 branches of power: state, civil society, corporation, and the media. Look, today, there is a trend. One day, President of the Republic of Indonesia, these 4 branches of power will be in one hand. That is, I call new totalitarianism will happen here. So we have to, to make it, we have to avoid that with law. But of course, we need enlightened leadership. A popular leadership cannot do that, because this is not popular. You have to differentiate between political parties, business, okay, and then civil society and the media. Look, today, big businessman broaden his business to media industry, television and everything, radio, and then they share many donations to civil society organization and was appointed, become advisor, become Dewan Suro in many civil society organization. And then finally, he or she make political parties. What for? He want to be candidate for the president or vice president, or he would like to become kingmaker. It is happening now. So the media is not private companies. The company is your private ownership, but the frequency is public domain. Should be neutral. Corporations should be neutral. Media should be neutral. Civil society organization, I like the way, PBNU now, the chairman of PBNU, what you call it? Take a distance from all political parties. That is very good. It's very good. Because, as I said, political parties all have their own ormas, underbo. When the political parties will dissolve by the Constitutional Court, that's including the underbow, will be dissolved also like PKI. So because of that, all the civil society organization must be differentiated with political organization. So this, we need to have a law, differentiate this one. And including, we have to rethinking again about constitutional amendment, because so many articles in the Constitution is becoming the cause of today's, performance of political democratic performance. Like, for example, so many. I am now a member of MPR. Look at the PD, it's nothing. So I always mention, so all countries in the world, the structure of the parliament, only one or only two, bicameral or monocameral. But we have three cameral.
2.5 actually.
No, three.
Yeah, 2.5 because the PD can no power.
Oh yeah. So I said we have to dissolve the PD and make it become one fraction, one group in the parliament, in the DPR. So I think there are so many we have to reevaluate, including, for example, if you complain about presidential election, the parliamentary threshold, yes, that's very important to consolidate political parties. But presidential threshold, no use. No, not necessary we have that. We have to, what you call it, menyalurkan, to channel the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, not only through political parties, multi-party system, but also many presidential candidates. When Putin was elected, I was invited to become international observer. You know how many candidates in Russia? There were 34 candidates. But by the electoral commissions, there were only 8 candidates was accepted. But when the elections happened, conducted, Vladimir Putin got 76%. So the rest, only 1%, 2%. But it's okay because he is very popular. So the candidate who is liked by the people will be the president. But you do not stop. The other 7. Russia is not too pluralistic like Indonesia. We are too plural. So let the candidate of the president make it 9, It's okay. So make it 0 presidential threshold. And we have to put it explicitly in the constitution.
4% maybe, the same.
No, not necessary. 0%, 0%. Yeah. Now, this is I think, as the answers to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. And Pak Bambang dan Ibu Karinosa. But keep in mind that we actually have run out of time, have we? Or yeah, so a few minutes, yeah, please.
Well, what to say after you, yeah? No, I think, Ibu dulu aja.
Yeah, talking about populism, populism. I think there is two sides of populism. On one side, we can say that maybe it is also critic for our government not to forget the minority group, because if we talk about political identity, we talking about women, it is political identity. Talking about color, skin color, it is political identity. Because the government maybe forget about the minority. Pak Jimli said about that. Don't forget about the minority. But on the other side, it can also be a pathology for our democracy, because when it is become a red flag when we are in the situation when we are easily label people. Yeah, now it already happened to us. If I criticize the government, then I am labeled as kadrun. If I agree with the government, I am labeled as cebong. And social media become a factor with the hate speech, with the hate comments. It's very easy to do the intimidation in the social media. And when one group already think that other group is an enemy, I think it is already become alert for our democracy. Because if we have enemy, then we want to make them lose. We want to do everything to make them lose. So we are the winner. I think that situation now, and I think we should see that it is already a red flag for us. Yeah, if we already in the situation when it is easily to label anyone to see the other is enemy and so on. Thank you.
Well, I think since this happening all over the world, I think it's also because of the social media. Yeah? Because now there is a big research that the many psychologist companies say they have problem with Generation Z in the office because they don't know how to deal with people that are not in the same opinion as them. Because in social media, it's very easy. You just cancel them out. But when you go into the office, you have to deal with people who are not the same with you, who probably have a different political affiliation, religion, and so on. So now they create a lot of training in the office, especially for Generation Z, how to deal with people that you cancel in your social media. Yeah, and I think since this is actually the mother of the problem, I think digital media literacy is becoming part of our necessity, yeah, as part of what we call a life skill. Because unless you really don't want to meet other people with different opinion, then I think you have to acquire this skill that you can have a different political agenda, different religion, but we can work in the same office, we can eat together, and because you can't cancel in real life, yeah, unless you want to be pertapa, yeah. So that's the thing. And also I blame some of my friends in the television especially, because you know when you're there, you know these people who fight on the camera, the moment the camera off, you know they are joking each other and they are laughing and so on, you know. But the viewer who didn't understand this, I quote all the time. So this, maybe we have to deal with this cancel culture, and that's probably the problem.
Dennis, you want to say something?
Yes, because I very much like your question on the personal cult, on the populism, and it should be the final question of this day, because it goes to the core of what we're doing here. Because if we want to mitigate the risk of this kind of popular cult in any society, in any democracy, we have to teach people to think critically. So, and this is actually what we're doing here today. Teach young people to think critically and to challenge what people like Donald Trump say. So if Pak Bambang is sitting here in front of you and telling stories, you should always think about what is this guy telling us, and always challenge him. And actually, that's what we as Konrad Adenauer Stiftung do since in the last 65 years in Germany, and also what the German school system tries to teach children and teenagers and young people, and we're quite successful. Because have you ever seen a good-looking German politician? Never. And why? Because everyone is very skeptical about this kind of populism and this kind of appearance. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But he's still young. So maybe I'll change my opinion someday. Not yet. Not yet.
He's kind of good-looking.
Yeah. No, but really, I mean, we just elected Olaf Scholz as the Chancellor of Germany. I'm not from his party, so I can say this. For me, he's the most boring politician I can imagine. But that's a good thing. I mean, it's not a good thing that he's a chancellor, but it's a good thing that we elect people like him, because that means we have a very skeptical electorate, very challenging regarding populism, and that's a safeguard for democracy. So critical thinking, I think, is the key.
I agree. Let's give that a big hand, everybody. And yeah, please.
Well, I would like to share optimism with you as a young generation. You know, in terms of the quantity, Indonesia now is the third largest democracy. Among the Muslim majority countries, Indonesia is the first largest democracy. America is Christian society, the largest democracy. And also Hindu people with India is the largest Hindu people. So one, there is no contradiction between religion and democracy. Okay. Number two, according to the rank, the index of the quality of democracy, although Indonesia is the third largest, but the quality last year still number 54. And the ranking of the rule of law in Indonesia, 64. Worse than the ranking of democracy. But this is something to do with the quality of culture and civilization. So democratic civilization needs time. Okay, so I myself have optimism that Indonesia will be go on with democracy. We cannot retreat from democratic system we have built, but we need time. We need time. If we talk about populism, like cebong and so forth, when Obama first make a presidential campaign, there was a photo, his photo, using kapieh, like Yasser Arafat, distributed all over the country. Why? Because this is black campaign against Obama. They would like to say, oh, this is anak menteng, close to terrorism. His father was Kenya, Hussein. So they would like to describe to the voters in America that don't vote for Obama. This is America. Amerika gitu loh. Even in America, still that kind of black campaign is there. So if we are facing the black campaign, yeah, the next election next year, it's okay. It's fine. So far as the public officer, public official, public figure do not use diction or narration, yeah, against this Pancasila. So this is, I think, to educate the people. So we really need the public, what you call it, civic education and voters education. If we can contribute for the preparations of better elections next year, I think we have to promote this civil and voters education. Thank you very much.
Yes, please. Okay, I want to end this with give you all personal challenges. Just put in your Instagram or something, follow somebody that you really don't like. Because the biggest test of democratic society is how we tolerate the most obnoxious person in this way. So choose the most obnoxious person you know, follow him or her, and see whether you can handle it.
Is that why you follow me on my... Look, this has been a very fascinating discussion. I want to thank all the panelists. Let's give them a big hand. And I think we all agreed that, we posed the question in the beginning, do the youth own democracy? And I think it's very clearly they do, yeah, from the comments that we heard today. So I want to congratulate you, and we're going to give you the baton of democracy for you to carry on. And I do want to say this. Look, for many countries, the challenge, including Indonesia, maybe at some point in the past, the challenge would be for a coup, military coup. It happened in Myanmar, right? Overnight, there's a coup, and in other places, Thailand and Pakistan, Egypt, and so on. So that prospect of military coup in Indonesia is zero, right? The challenge is what? The problem, yeah? The problem is not the systemic crumbling, ending of a democracy, but the possible erosions of it in ways that you don't realize, you don't appreciate, but because you don't realize, you don't appreciate, it gets worse and worse, right? And then what happens? You end up with democratic decay. Jadi kropos, right? And you don't realize it happening until it actually happens. So that's the challenge of us. Whenever we see red flags, you have to speak up with that red flag, right? And I want to underline what Dennis said about critical thinking. My first political book is who? Bung Karno. I admired Bung Karno because he was proclamator, right? He proclaimed our independence, and he discovered Pancasila, right? So from when I was a kid, I admired Bung Karno, but I also saw a different glimpse. What was it? Bung Karno appointed himself as president for life. That I disagreed, right? But that's what it is to have critical thinking, right? Not to see somebody and then because you admire him for something you do and you blinded by everything else that he didn't do right, right? So I think that's what we owe ourselves to, right? To live in a democracy and to keep that democracy a safe home for critical thinking. And alhamdulillah, we're doing this in Indonesia because you know what? This kind of discussions, if it happens in some other countries, I don't mention which countries, but we all can get arrested for having this conversation. Yeah. So we should be thankful that we're having this open discussion in a democratic Indonesia, and let's keep it that way. Thank you so much. I know it's late, and appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much, Pak Dino, Prof. Jimli, Pak Bambang, Ibu Ninis. We would like to give a token of appreciation from FPCI and a group picture of all the panelists. And we would also like to invite Pak Dennis to come on stage as well to have a group picture with us. Pak Dino, you may hand the t-shirts that we have for the panelists. And photographer. Pak Bambang. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and Ibu Ninis. Okay. Group picture. Thank you very much once again.
For Jenny, who is the head of this project.
They make it a success, and thank you. Okay. I didn't have time to change my clothes. This is a plot for the team as well, for the hard work. Please give her a round of applause. Dito, Chacha, Akmal. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this public forum is available for rewatch in our YouTube at Secretariat FPCI. Thank you very much once again for coming, and see you in our next event.